This week, the Coast Guard Marine Board of Investigation is in North Charleston listening to evidence and testimony about what went wrong last June when the Titan submersible imploded on an expedition to see the Titanic's ruins. A longtime contractor with that company that built and operated the Titan was the last to testify today at a Coast Guard hearing. Live 5's Ann McGill and Blair Sable are out there now to break down what we know about this investigation into the deadly underwater mission. We want to start with Ann. Ann, you listened to the testimony today at the Lonnie Hamilton Public Services Building. What can you tell us?
Ralph, as you said, the Titan submersible was on a dive, its last dive to the Titanic, when it imploded with all 5 people on board. Now, OceanGate built and operated that vessel. It was located in Everett in Washington State. A former contractor named Tim Catterson said the Titan didn't undergo realistic practice dives in Washington State waters.
I mean, look. Most of the time they do their operations, they're operating out of Everett. They're doing training and seamanship and how to do all of this. But Everett is like a bathtub compared to going out into the North Atlantic. And it is different. It's more demanding. It's harder.
Now, oddly enough, the day of the Titan's trip to the Titanic, Catterson actually said the weather was perfect. He said it almost seemed like a blessing because for several days before that, he said the weather was very uncooperative. Now, Blair Sable has also been listening in today. A lot of massive information today coming out of this hearing. She joins me now live as well. Blair?
And while the Titan submersible was a project that didn't have a very smooth testing phase, to say the least, today we learned of the many issues that led up to the infamous dive last year that took the lives of 5 crew members on board. During one test dive that we learned about today, 70 instances of equipment failure. Another time, while it was being tested in the Bahamas, a lightning strike crashed the electronics on the sub. They actually had to be entirely replaced. And later, the discovery of a crack in the carbon fiber hull by former OceanGate engineering director Tony Nissen ultimately canceled the expedition to the Titanic that was planned in 2019. Now, Nissen testified today that he was misled about his role from the beginning, and also the readiness of the project, that it was ready to dive down to the Titanic.
Earlier, you stated that you were hired. When you were hired, you were told that the Titan hull was almost completed and the engineering was already completed. Was that actually true?
No.
Can you expand?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like too much of an alarmist, but there isn't much of my interview that was true. Nothing. I had already quit my job. What do you do after that, right? No, it wasn't ready to go. When I did the FEAs on it, it wouldn't survive. Not at all. Like, Brian's done.
Nissen was with OceanGate from 2016 to 2019 when he was ultimately fired for not signing off on that very expedition in 2019. He often pointed the finger at now deceased CEO Stockton Rush and the designer of the hull, Brian Spencer, for the shortcomings in the submersible's design, ultimately for the sake of time and money. Now, Spencer is not one of the more than 24 witnesses who have been subpoenaed for this hearing. For Live 5 News, I'm Blair Sable. Ann, back to you.
All right, Blair, thank you very much. Now, testimony continues in the morning. This entire process is expected to last for about 2 full weeks here in the Charleston area. Reporting live from the Lonnie Hamilton Public Services Building in North Charleston, Ann McGill, Live 5 News.
And you may be wondering why those hearings were held here in Charleston. Well, officials chose to bring the hearings here to North Charleston because they say it serves as a neutral location for the investigation. The expedition first set off for the Titanic wreckage from Newfoundland, Canada. The Coast Guard found the vessel's debris about 900 nautical miles east of Cape Cod, Massachusetts.